Welcome back to East Texas Now. Joining us here on the desk is our JD Conti, who has been reporting today on the EMS response during this winter weather. And as we're going to learn, apparently calls actually went up during this storm.
Yeah. So, as you know, first responders don't get a day off. 911 calls happen 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And that's certainly the case for, especially, EMTs who are the first people on the scene most of the time. They're the ones who are usually there. And I mean, all across East Texas, UT Health East Texas, they've got some specific areas, but we went to their Tyler headquarters today just to talk about, what their plan was during the storm and how they've been responding. And it was really interesting to see how they kind of worked through this storm. They're basically fully staffed. They have special shifts that they work. Basically, anyone who works a desk job that used to be an EMT is now in the field during this kind of thing. So when we got there, a lot of the people who had kind of been there the whole weekend were just heading home and they're sleeping right now. So thank you to them. Thank you for all that you do. And basically during this storm, I mean, just all hands on deck situation, like I just said. And like a lot of us, they were susceptible to the icy conditions themselves. They basically, in their plan was take double the time you would normally think to get to a place. And unfortunately, some of their ambulances ended up having to get stuck and get towed out of those places. They said a couple dozen ambulances actually got stuck. Thankfully, not all of them, were stuck. They were able to get out. But, just some of those slicky spots across the East Texas, particularly in the rural areas. So we talked to the CEO of UT Health East Texas, the EMS division, John Smith. He kind of walks us through what their plan was, how they learned from 2021, got some more vehicles that were better equipped for the snow, and it's honestly a really interesting conversation. Tell me, what did this room look like this weekend? Kind of walk me through what's going on here.
Starting Friday evening, we started working around the clock. We had pretty much 6 or 7 people in here at a time, full of laptops. We've got a screen up watching all of our trucks. We can see out the front video cameras. We're taking calls from hospitals. We're talking to the other EMS agencies. We're talking to Christus and Camp County and CareFlight, trying to see what they're seeing, what roads we can travel, what roads are more dangerous. It has been, up until this morning, we shut the command center down at 8 a.m. It's been pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, how do your operations change when there's weather like this?
We try to staff up. We try to put on as many extra crews as we can come in, keeping in mind that our crews have their own emergencies at home. They have their own child care. They have their own water breaks, issues that come up. But proud to say the whole team showed up for this event and really worked very hard. It's an all hands on deck. Management comes in. We start working around the clock shifts. Taking phone calls, working with hospitals, working with other emergency management personnel, constant communication with fire departments, the police departments, and numerous web calls, conferences with state emergency operations. It's constantly something going on all the time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys have to drive slower too, right? How does it change, responding to everything?
Yeah, so driving becomes an issue. We pretty much say plan to take twice as long to get anywhere we need to go. We've probably had to pull out dozens of ambulances over the last several days. Here in the city of Tyler, we could do that with our supervisor trucks. We're on concrete. Out in the rural areas where a lot of our calls are, we've had several calls that we had to send 3 ambulances because the first 2 got stuck, and then we're calling tow trucks. Then the tow trucks are busy. Most of them have been really good and helped get to us as soon as they can. But even one of the calls I was on the other night, the tow truck itself was sliding up and down the hill that our ambulance slid off on, and had to chain their tow truck to a tree just to pull us out. That took about an hour. But kudos, they've all been professional and great help.
You were running calls at one point too?
Yeah, so we took rotations. A lot of us would take the phones in here, and then we would go out. Myself and all the management team took turns getting in all of our supervisor vehicles are 4-wheel drive. So we were going out there to respond to some calls. Hideaway Lake has a lot of hills, and the only way we could get to a lot of those patients were in a pickup truck. Some of our calls, our ambulances would get almost to the house, and the crews had to grab their equipment and walk several hundred yards to get to the patient. And then we would have to go figure out how to get the ambulance moved once we got to them.
So not all the ambulances have four-wheel drive. Some of them do.
No, we have one ambulance that's four-wheel drive. All the rest of our ambulances are two-wheel drive. That's kind of normal for an ambulance. The one four-wheel drive truck we have, it's our huge specialty ECMO ambulance. Thank God we have it. We were using it to take patients to Cook's Children's, to Dallas, to Longview, to pick up critical patients who need to come back to Tyler. So we tried to use that vehicle anytime we went out of town. We had our Air One crews in there with the nurses.
Yeah. How are you able to use the helicopter this weekend?
No, the helicopter doesn't fly when it's wet and cold, so they were in the hangars throughout the duration of the event. They came out today, or yesterday afternoon, and they're back out today. But we took the nurses that normally fly and our critical care paramedics that fly on the helicopters, they manned the four-wheel drive ambulance, they manned ambulances, and they kept moving those patients they would normally fly in ground vehicles.
Obviously, a lot different of an event, a lot smaller, thank God. But what did you guys learn from Snowmageddon?
We learned a lot. We learned a lot. Back in 2021, we had one four-wheel drive supervisor vehicle at a bunch of expeditions. Now we have a fleet of about 7 or 8 four-wheel drive pickup trucks. We started preparing Wednesday of last week, getting ice melt ready, getting all the things that we would need, talking with our crews, setting up conversations early, letting them know, hey, we needed the whole team in. We started doing calls to go pick up our staff. Not all of our staff have four-wheel drive vehicles, so we had a whole bunch of management, a whole bunch of extra drivers driving all over East Texas, going all the way to Shreveport, Carthage, Longview, Alto, close to the Dallas area, bringing our people back in so they can work on ambulances during this.
Do you think call volume has increased, and what have those calls kind of looked like generally speaking?
Oh, the calls definitely increased. Friday and Saturday, we kind of thought we were going to miss it this go round, but then Saturday night hit into Sunday, we started seeing the slide offs, a lot of falls, a lot of people getting out, looking at things and falling down. So we've had to transport a lot of those to the hospital. A lot of accidents, and I think it appears that people don't go to the hospital when they think they can't get out, and then they wait too long. So we've had some really critical patients that we've had to get to because of that. So today, right now, the roads are getting better. Our call volume is probably the highest it's ever been right now. Everybody, it seems to be back out or needing to go to the hospital.
Anything else you feel the public needs to know at this time?
I just think the one thing about disasters in East Texas is everybody works together. It's always been a great partnership. All the EMS agencies are working together. We're trying to send the closest that can get to patients. Law enforcement, fire departments across all the counties we work in have just been a tremendous asset. A lot of communication. How can we help? What resources do we have? What can we share? So I think the public just probably needs to know that all the first responders in East Texas step up every time there's one of these events.